Welcome back, Goblin Chefs. It's your Goblin Master Chef, APGAINS, aka Goblin Ramsay, the greatest chef to ever live. I can't believe I brought back my old beta intro that I haven't used in, 9 or 10 months since it's been the beta, right? We got all things Middle Earth here. Another great Heroes of Middle Earth channel for you guys to follow. How's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good. Happy to be here. Glad to finally get collaborating, as they call it. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. So collaborative. APGAINS is loved by all except for all, I guess. I need your opinion
yeah.
though. Should I keep just welcome back, Goblin Chefs, APGAINS, or should I go for the full 30-minute intro I used to do in the beta? Like
I
what's
am
better for the content?
personally partial to the really long intros. I usually go about 45% of videos are intro, 45 outro, 10% like actual body content.
That is
That is a recipe that I think is successful. So
I think that absolutely increases engagement. It increases ad click-through rate to increase ad
right,
revenue, profitability.
absolutely.
We are businessmen after all.
That's
Let's
why we're here. I was hoping you'd keep the suit on, by the way, but I mean, maybe next time if I'm
Yeah,
lucky.
I went down to the sweater and the button down. I had to bring it down a level. We're not working.
Right.
We're producing content.
Well, we did. He was trying to, balance with me and my ragtag look here, so it's
That's
I get
okay.
it.
I wear
I get it.
sweats 90% of the time unless I'm actively in a Zoom meeting for work. So the point
Right.
of today's video, we're going to talk about sleeper non-meta factions. Obviously, some of these might be part of the current meta, but we're talking about factions that are going to go above and beyond in the future. Requirements are not out. This is all speculation, but a little bit of a gut feeling, a little bit of the detective's instinct, if you
Hmm.
will, to talk about where maybe you could put some of your resources for one of those sneaky little free-to-play moves. Because as we know, if you're not spending money, you're not going to be meta. But if you can predict the meta before it happens, you could be looking at a whole
You
lot of
might be in a good spot.
success. All
Oh
right,
yeah.
I'm going to get it started. And of course, a couple of
What's it
them
gonna
on
be?
mine. We're going to go over to your channel for the others. Keep it short, Haradrim. Everyone knows Witch King. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Farm them, farm them, farm them. We had data mines, correct? Break us down
Oh yeah.
why this squad is looking absolutely fantastic. I know they share passives and stuff like that, good damage, high speed, all that. But what
Right.
really takes them to the next level, do you think?
I mean, I like them. I just think they're missing like that lead piece. That's the reason they're not really in the meta right now, or what we're seeing as much in the kind of like hodgepodge arena that we do have. I just think they're missing like that one key link, which I think will probably be Witch King, like a lot of people think. But they're really solid. Like anytime that I've come up against them in any of the campaign battles, they're kind of a huge pain in the ass. So I don't know. Wobat, I think is Wobat the one you've been using a lot. I know you're a big fan of
Yeah.
one of them specifically. I'm currently farming him as much as I can. I got 106 shards on him, trying to get them going in pre-farm. But as soon as there's a lead for them, that brings it together a little bit more. I'm very excited to be going in a little bit more. But
Yeah.
you may have used them a bit more. What are your
I don't use them too
expert
much.
thoughts?
I'm generally of the opinion that if you're going to pre-farm something for a meta in the distant future, I just go level 30, gear 5 stars.
Right,
He's almost at 5 stars. I'm going to take him to 7 just because I have nothing else to farm with his guild currency or guild campaign
right.
currency or whatever it's called in this game. But I think the Sage I believe the Sage is the healer in the data mine. I think they're going to have a good heal there. And then I don't know if Wu Betty Bambalam, Wu Betty Bambalam is the veteran in the campaign. There's one more, and I think that one's going to have a leadership ability because I can't imagine Witch King is going to work. I think he's going to have obviously like a Nazgul leadership, but I'm
That's what I
hoping
don't know. That could be a whole different topic, to be
we won't
honest. I
get
don't know
too
what they're
much
gonna do with
into
that.
it.
I
But
think it's like the Haradrim veteran is the one who's data mined, I believe, with like the dual blades.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what direction they're gonna go. If they're gonna just have Witch King lead like a lot of evil characters, or they're gonna like use them to unlock and be like, well, if you want to run Witch King, you got to do 4 marquees for Nazgul. I don't know. It seems early in the lifespan of the game to do that, but
Yeah.
you know,
What I was originally anticipating was use him to unlock, Witch King like Sam, I guess, like the tier 2 of Sam, or I guess like how Elrond's gonna work. I guess it
Mhm.
probably makes more sense to compare him to Elrond. 2 marquees and then like 1 or 2 like Sam level characters where you use your dark side characters to get them to 3 stars, and then you pay money to get some other faction to get them at 5 stars and stuff like that, and you can have a full team there.
Right.
But this is a pretty obvious one, so I'm gonna move on. We're not talking Haradrim. We're talking in the meta right now, but not for long, but possibly making a return in the near future. my current favorite faction in the game until the Nazgul are out. We're talking the Rohirrim. We're talking Rohan. We have 5 characters. We have a leadership. We have
Yep.
quote unquote meta viability, if you want to call that, because of the hodgepodge that is the meta right now, where it's just, do you have gear on your characters? Oh, yes, you do. Oh, you can beat stuff.
Do they AoE? Oh, yes. Okay. Welcome to the front line.
But I mean, it's a well-rounded faction. They have high damage with Eomer, relatively good health across the board. Eowyn's got a leadership. They have a heal on Eldred. Eothane's got a taunt and an AoE. Wolfwind does surprisingly good damage for the character that she is. I always have anticipated that we're gonna get. I always get blasted in the comment section. Theoden. What's the king's name? King Theoden.
Yeah, Theoden, yeah.
Okay, Theoden. Okay, see,
Theo, that's probably up for debate, but yeah, that's the name.
Okay. I always have been saying, since the beta came out, that he was going to be a large character like the trolls. He was going to be on horseback, and you're going to only bring him in. And he's going to have
Only on horseback. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
He's going to come in on horseback and lead the charge, and he's going to be a big character, so you can't use your Ironhide or whatever in the squad. And I think that's going to be the next level. Obviously,
Right.
this is probably, I think I'm ahead of Capital Games here. I think I've out-predicted the out-predictors, so maybe a little bit too
Sure.
aggressive. But what are your thoughts? I mean, the team is good right now. They're going to get trounced by the Nazgul and by Elrond and stuff like that. But do you see a resurgence coming for the Rohirrim?
I think so. I spent a lot of times looking through all the squads in the game, or like potential squads, thinking of who's going to counter first the elves and Elrond, because that's going to be what everyone's going to try and figure out. Is like we got all these Elrond teams that are annoying, and I don't think the Rohan team is super limited by the elves. So I think they're good. I mean, potentially going to do a great spot. I've got Wilfrin. I've actually used her not a crazy amount, but I was one of the ones who was like, maybe I want to try and use more than the 3 Rohan, and then regretted my life decisions. But they've got a really solid heal. Allred has 2 heals. A lot of people don't like him. They're like, oh, he doesn't do a lot of damage. I'm like, well, he's not supposed to do damage. He's got 2 heals. You got your big single fire damage with Wilfrin. Obviously, he's tied for second highest damage in the game. He's a beast. I could legitimately see either that potentially higher gear levels, or maybe there is like a 6th plugin we get that works a little bit differently. I could see them competing, or at least not getting wiped, as compared to like a Mordor faction, who I think is going to struggle the most against the elves based on how their team synergy works and what the elves do. But I think Rohan is going to be able to do decent. I would not be surprised if we still continue to see at least those 3, if not more of a full 5 squad down the road. I think it could be very possible.
Yeah, I think they have the damage to get through kind of the regeneration that the elves do. Of course, it's so early, it's going to come down to gear. I'm saying if it's comparable or you have a slight advantage,
Right.
I think you're going to be able to punch through a little bit, just with the overall damage numbers that you're doing. You get a well-timed, God, what do they call it? What's ability block in this game?
Disable.
Disable, thank you. I hate that
Yep.
they had an entire
Oh, I know.
system, and they completely changed it. It pisses me off, man.
They don't. I mean, boons and banes and disable, and it's a mess. I mean, I've not played as much Galaxy of Heroes, but I've played for several years and still call all the. It's a mess. So if they could just if they changed it and just came out and said we're changing them all to be the same, I'd be a happy camper. So
that would be the greatest
PG,
quality of
maybe
life change of all time.
just universalize the status effects in all of your games, please, for everyone's sake.
Except
Nobody
for the
likes
games you had that flopped and died and that you denied ever existed because they're shameful for your company. But we won't bring.
Nobody feels good saying boons and banes. All right, it feels very silly.
It's
Let's
very
just get rid of
childish,
that.
yes. And I get that they went with a more childish art style, but let's be men here, right?
Right, exactly.
One thing I do want to touch on before we hop over to your side of the video is that obviously there's nothing to do right now, and that's been the whole hot debate, but we're getting raids in Q3. We're going to get, some sort of inter-guild, inter-player, multiple team PvP, PvE kind of stuff. That's just what CG loves to do, and that's how these games are profitable, because you can't just have one team. You can't just have an arena team, obviously. Right. One thing with both the Haradrim and with the Rohan that I like, and that's why I'm comfortable putting them to, 5 stars, level 30, gear 5, whatever it is eventually you're going to need multiple teams to do multiple teams things. And you talked about counters, which is something I hadn't thought too much about, actually, so thank you for that. But just having strong teams with good synergy that can do stuff. Like when the raid comes out, most people are going to have one arena team that they're going to go in, and if they don't get the proper rewards or damage or whatever it's going to be, they're going to have nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth it in your minds to have a couple of teams if you're not pushing Elrond, for instance? If you're a free-to-play player, you're not really pushing Elrond that hard, you don't want to wait the extra 6 months to get him. Are you considering farming up a couple of teams to a decent clip, something manageable like a Gear
I
5 3 stars to make sure you can do
I
events.
absolutely think so because what I would have to assume when the raids come out, some reward that we get will be exclusive to that raid for a long time. So it's going to be very, very much beneficial to do as well as you can within your guild. So if you just have that one arena team, whether or not they do well, it's going to be up. We'll find out. But at least pre-farming the shards, hoarding some gear is not going to hurt you. Trying to think through just like what different teams do and try and do a different variety. If you're just running an arena team that doesn't have any synergy and just all AoEs, that might not be good against a big troll or a big Balrog in the raid. But if you're looking at a Rohan team or a Haradrim team that actually start working together, there's different effects they put out and boost each other. You might find yourself able to catch up a little bit more because those who aren't spending crazy amounts to get the 7-star Elrons and be at the top of the arena, you might be able to catch up a bit more if you can still do well in the raids to at least get whatever rare gear or abilities they give out from that section, if that's what I think they'll do. So
Absolutely. I think having, obviously, like you talked about, the flexibility in terms of kits and stuff like that, depending on if you're fighting phase 1, which is, well, maybe it's probably going to be like a phase 2 where you're fighting a bunch of goblins or something like that, and you do need those AoEs
right.
versus fighting a Balrog or a troll where you need a specific high damage. You get your might from Eowyn, you get your assist from Eowyn, and you're doing big damage there with Wilfwyn or whatever. I think having that flexibility is definitely important. So, more
Sure.
important than flexibility of roster is transitions into not only the outro of this video, which unfortunately will not be 45% of the video, into the 45% of your video that is going to be an intro. Thank you for
That's
joining
right.
us. Link, I don't know where you put links these days. Description above, I don't know. I'll point in all the directions and it'll be somewhere.
Find it.
You click it, and we will magically appear on a different YouTube channel where you will indeed subscribe because I told you to, and as Goblin Master Chef, Goblin Ramsay, the greatest chef in all the land, I have demanded it of you. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Do it for the intro. The intro's long. You got to do it.
Oh, yes. Do it for the very long intro. So, as always, I love all you guys, and I will see you later.